UTVs, Achiever, DPM, and DLT2 are designed and built with Dur-a-lift for stability and simplicity for aerial and material handling work. This training guide explains how to inspect and operate these vehicles. Training manuals are provided with every vehicle. We recommend every user to read them to ensure optimal use and maintenance of your UTV, aerial, or digger derrick. Let's start with our routine inspection. DLTs are designed and built with Dur-a-lift for stability and simplicity for aerial and material handling work. This training guide explains how to inspect and operate these vehicles. Training manuals are provided with every vehicle. We recommend every user to read them to ensure optimal use and maintenance of your UTV, aerial, or digger derrick. Let's start with our routine inspections. What we're looking for in the track system is to make sure that all the lug nuts are in the proper place on the wheels and the drive sprockets and up in the idler in the front. Typically, if you're going to see trouble anywhere, you're going to see it in the drive sprocket first, so this is the most important area to check as far as lug tightness goes. After that, we're going to look for damage to the track system, and what I'm looking for is any damage to the cross-link to tire guide. So this portion right here is called the cross-link, and this is aluminum extrusion, and this portion right here is called the tire guide. So what I'm looking for is bent or damaged tire guides. If you see a tire guide that this portion, we'll call it the ear, has been bent out in this direction, don't worry about it, just keep on working. If you ever see one that has been bent in, then we have a problem, because every time it goes around, it's going to chew up one of the drive wheels, one of the road wheels, the drive sprocket, or the idler wheel, and it can cause damage. So if you ever see one that's bent in, this is hardened steel. By that point, usually the welds are cracked. Just take a hammer to it and try to break it off entirely. If you see more than one damage, let's say you see 3 damage in a row, then you might have some risk of detracking. If you ever do see 3 or more damage in a row, try to only steer when the damaged portion is on the top of the track. Another thing you might see is this right here is called the back-end plate. You might see a missing back-end plate. Every once in a while, one of these crosslinks will get caught in something off-road, and it will get twisted and it'll snap the heads off the bolts, and it'll be hanging loose on one side. Once again, it's not that big a deal. You can continue working. When you get back to the barn, they'll let somebody know they'll have to address it eventually. The machine will operate well with a minor amount of track damage. You just don't want to let it get away from you, so make sure when you get back to the barn, if you see anything, you get it addressed and taken care of by the mechanics. Track tension, I like to check it at the 3rd road wheel back here, and what I do is I put my hand on it just like that, and I just see if I can lift it with my thumb. And for me, this is okay. I can just lift it a little bit right there. That's about right. The machine will operate well over a wide variety of track tension. However, when the machine is new, these belts are going to take about a 2% set over the first roughly 100 hours or 6 months. So it'll require more attention for the first 6 months than it will for the rest of its life. In order to increase track tension, we have track tension ports right up in the front of the machine. Just pull the black cap off, hit it with a grease gun, and you'll be able to tension up the tracks a little bit. Idler wheel right here is an oil-filled idler wheel. You can see the sight glass in the hub. There should be clear oil in there. It shouldn't be empty or milky. These are the track tension grease ports right here. Just remove the black cover. And you can put a grease gun on the grease zerk right there, and you can increase the track tension by adding grease to the system. We have one for each track. They're independent of each other. Okay, we have the vehicle on the ground now. We're going to continue our walk around. It's important to mention that whenever you move this vehicle, the rear step should be folded up. Even just backing it off the trailer, if the rear step is folded down, could cause the rear step to touch the ground and bend underneath the machine. We also want to check our oil tank and make sure that our oil level, our hydraulic oil level, is between the black arrows right here, okay? So when you're parked on level ground, your oil should be between the black arrows. Continuing to walk around, we want to make sure that anything stowed on tech is tied down tight, not at risk of coming off. Right here we have a toolbox. Good for storage. Right here we have the battery box. It has a small storage compartment in here. Typically we store the winch remote inside here. We also have the battery master switch in here and some circuit breakers as well. Right up here we have the power inlet for the block heater and hydraulic oil heater. DEF tank is located right here. On every fuel fill of this machine, you should ensure that the DEF tank is topped up. Now we'll do the cab. In order to start this vehicle, turn the key to the first position to the right, and then we have to wait for the dash to wake up before the engine will start. So we're going to see our logo come on. If that ever happens, ensure that your joysticks are in a neutral position, and then the engine should start. In order to disengage the parking brake, The seatbelt has to be on. And then we're going to pull the silver knob and press the red button next to it. And you'll see that the red bezel on the dash display comes off. That means the parking brake is off. If I want to re-engage the parking brake, I'm going to push the silver knob in. And now we have the red bezel around the dash one more time. And I'm going to wait for the display to wake up. The engine won't start until the display is showing the gauges. Now we see our logo. Now we see the gauges. Now the engine is good to start. This red bezel around the dash, this red outline here, indicates that the parking brake is on. Whenever this machine starts up, the parking brake is automatically engaged. My engine is started. I'm still showing the red. That means my parking brake is on. In order to disengage my parking brake, I have to ensure that my seatbelt is connected. I'm going to pull the silver knob right here and press the red button. The red comes off the dash. Now my parking brake is off and it's good to drive the vehicle. If I want to reapply my parking brake, I just have to press this silver button and now we're good to go. Now our parking brake is on. When I want to drive, I pull it out and I press the red button. Ensure that your plow is up before you drive. Circuit breakers up here. Pretty much everything on this machine is protected by circuit breakers. In the event that it blows, it's going to be physically popped out and you should be able to reset it once it cools down. Over here we have the auxiliary hydraulic switch. This is somewhat the equivalent of a PTO switch on a truck. However, because everything is hydraulically driven in this machine, there are no gears involved. But in order to operate the outriggers of the boom, this switch has to be on and the parking brake has to be on as well. Once I turn the parking brake off, it automatically disengages. So whenever I'm driving, my auxiliary hydraulics are automatically turned off. I put the brake back on, my auxiliary hydraulics come back on. On this vehicle, we have the optional AC control right here, and we have the optional heater blower right here as well. In order to get the heater to provide hot air in the cab, the heater pull cable in the back corner over here has to be in the up position. We also have the headlights, rear work lights, interior dome light, and beacon light on top of the cab, and the horn. Which has to be on, and this pull cable has to be in the up position right now. That will allow hot coolant to go through the heater cord just down below me right here. Operations manuals are stored in this box right here. Hand throttle, speed control right here, high-low speed. Speed on this vehicle will be changed anytime, whether you're stationary or moving. You'll get about 4 miles an hour in low speed, about 8 miles an hour in high speed. Pretty good torque in low speed, you'll be able to climb almost anything. High speed is mainly for straight travel without too much steering or hills involved. Plow control is right here. This vehicle is equipped with slope indicators in the cab. We have this one here for front and rear slopes, and this one up in front of you for side slopes. This vehicle is rated for 40 degrees climbing and descending capacity. Typically, if you try to go above 40, you're going to start spinning your tracks. Be cautious when you're going downhill. Try not to exceed 40 degrees downhill. And on the side slope, you'll see we have it indicated as 15 degrees side by side. We have a lot of mass up high with the boom on this machine, so we recommend that you try to follow our side slope recommendation. If you're ever in a situation where the side slopes are getting a little bit steep and you're a little bit worried, maybe you're a little bit out of control, make sure you can always drive this vehicle with the outriggers down. Ensure the vehicle is level to plus or minus 5 degrees. We have the auxiliary hydraulic outriggers in the on position. Ground conditions must be suitable to sustain outrigger loads. Now we'll look at the boom operation. Here we have the engine stop. Start PTO operation and pump operation from the ground. And we can start when it's time to deploy the aerial. The control switch has to be in the aerial position. So the outriggers will have to be down and the aerial switch control will have to be in the aerial position. If you're going to operate from the bucket, the controls have to be in the upper position. If you're going to operate from the bucket, the control selector has to be in the upper position. Now we're good to operate from the bucket. lanyard anchor for your fall arrest is located right here. Take 2 lanyards. This aerial is equipped with a hydraulic eap. If this lever is in the E-up position, it'll no longer have any hydraulics. In order to recover, the eap has to be back in the normal operating position towards the operator. This is single hand control for 4 of the main boom functions. It's going to allow you to extend and retract the extension boom, raise and lower the main boom, control your rotation, and raise and lower your articulated boom. In order to make any of these functions happen, the trigger has to be depressed. When the trigger is let go, you have more control. The controls are equipped with elevators. In order to operate the elevator, you have to press the trigger and then work with the elevator control. On these aerials, it's important that whenever you go into the stow position, the elevator is fully raised. The jib and bucket position controls are on lift locks. In order to operate them, lift the collar and then use the control. When the trigger is let go, you have more control. To operate the jib, first lower the winch. And then can operate the jib extension. On these aerials, it's important that whenever you go into the stow position, the elevator is fully raised. We also have the tilt elevation. In order to operate them, lift the collar and then use the control. Some 180-degree bucket rotators. To rotate the bucket, pull the control lever towards you and rotate. And then can operate the jib extension. We also have the tilt elevation. Some 180-degree bucket rotators. To rotate the bucket, pull the control lever towards you and rotate. And we can bring it back to the original position. Okay, we have the bucket dump and level position right here. So in order to dump the bucket, we're going to pull it towards me. If you have the bucket full of water, you can use it to drain water out. And then to bring it back to level, we're going to move it into the operating position. Operating position can also be used to define adjustment of your level when you're up in the air. On this type of aerial, there's positions where the bucket can interfere with the jib. If I rotate underneath the jib right now, I'm going to bring the jib into myself and I can hurt myself. Also at high boom elevation angles, also at high jib angles, if I have the bucket underneath the jib, I'm bring the jib down on myself. Manual rotation, lift the lock. By following our manual and recommendations, you can ensure the safe operation and long-term durability of your UTV vehicle.